right now on News Channel 8 at 8.
We confirmed that the wreckage has been found.
We've seen family members coming in and out of this building here at Cairo International Airport. A lot of them wanting to know what happened to their loved ones. Some of them still hoping that they'll be found alive.
Frustration and fear as investigators from across the world try to figure out what caused a plane with 66 people on board to plunge thousands of feet.
I felt somebody hit me in my ribs, and then somebody hit me in my head twice.
My client was arrested and charged with resisting an officer with violence and trespass.
A man inadvertently walked into a drug bust at a Florida gas station. Now he's fighting back, accusing police of brutality.
There are presently 15 drugs in phase 3 clinical testing for Alzheimer's disease. The likelihood that one or more of these will be successful, we think, is very real.
Our very own Gail Sirens is searching for answers in the battle against Alzheimer's after losing her mother to the disease. News Channel 8 at 8 begins now.
Good evening, I'm Jen Holloway.
And I'm Josh Benson. Thanks for being with us tonight.
We're going to start tonight with some breaking news in Hillsborough County. You're going to look at some live video here from a very bad crash involving a motorcycle. You can't see drivers here right now, but earlier thousands of drivers had to be diverted. This is the access road to get onto the Selman Expressway just off I-75. This are the FDOT cameras. Now, we are told that motorcyclist is currently in critical condition. We will certainly bring you any updates as soon as we have them.
And was it a terror attack or a tragic accident? EgyptAir Flight 804 was on its way from Paris to Cairo when it vanished from radar. It was just 173 miles from the coast. Investigators believe the plane swirled violently, swerved back and forth before plummeting into the water. Some U.S. officials think that plane could have been taken down by a bomb.
And tonight, Washington lawmakers, they're preparing to hold a series of hearings on airport security. So let's get straight to our chief national correspondent, Jim Osmond. He is live tonight at 8:02 from our D.C. bureau. Jim, what are you hearing in Washington this evening?
Hiya, Jen. Hiya, Josh, and good evening. Well, what we're hearing is that Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump is saying this looks like terrorism, but we're waiting to see actually what happened. President Obama instructed top aides to keep him briefed throughout the day on the latest on the downing of the Egyptian Airbus, which was flying from Paris to Cairo.
It's too early to definitively say what may have caused this disaster. The investigation is underway, and investigators will consider all of the potential factors that could have contributed.
House Speaker Paul Ryan expressed condolences for the 66 passengers and additional crew and security personnel who perished in the crash.
Right now, I think the thoughts of the whole House are with the families of those who were on board.
The Egyptian Airbus went down about 3 a.m. Egypt time. The United States is providing assistance in the incident. On Capitol Hill, hearings are set next week into the TSA and its security measures at domestic airports. We spoke this afternoon with Indiana Congressman Republican Luke Messer.
I think we're going to need a swift response, but the response starts by getting to the bottom of the facts.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump in a tweet said, quote, "Looks like yet another terrorist attack. Airplane departed from Paris. When will we get tough, smart, and vigilant? Great hate and sickness." Now, Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, in an interview this afternoon on CNN, says all of this reinforces the need for steady American leadership and working with our allies. Now, as far as the folks on that plane, there were 30 Egyptians and there were 15 people from France. There were no Americans on board. Reporting live tonight in Washington, Jim Osmond, News Channel 8.
And Jim, one quick question. You mentioned those meetings. So what is at stake during the meetings on Capitol Hill about the TSA?
Well, the meetings and the hearings are about wait times at airports, and that brings up hiring more TSA workers, and that brings up the vetting of those TSA workers and the security at our domestic airports. Josh?
All right, a big topic there. We'll be sure to tune in on what happens with those meetings. All right, thanks so much. Jim Osmond live for us from D.C.
All right, let's take a look back at some facts. Just 2 months ago, we were telling you about a man who hijacked an EgyptAir flight to Cyprus. Last year, a Russian plane exploded over Egypt, killing 224 people. Back in 1999, an EgyptAir flight crashed off the coast of Massachusetts. 217 people were killed. And in 1985, an EgyptAir plane was hijacked. 60 people died in that standoff with Egyptian troops. Now, we're going to certainly update you with any new developments about this EgyptAir investigation on air as well as online. You can check out WFLA.com, or you can download our free News Channel 8 app for any breaking news right to your phone.
On to some other news now. A man in Jacksonville says he is the victim of police brutality after he inadvertently walked into a gas station in the middle of a drug bust. DeMarcus Brown walked into the food mart where his dad was buying a drink at the counter. That's when police grabbed him, and it was all caught on camera.
They get me on the ground. Then I'm in a chokehold. I'm telling them I can't breathe. I can't breathe. They don't let up, and I keep telling them I can't breathe. And then another officer, I feel somebody hit me in my ribs, and then somebody hit me in my head twice.
Investigators are looking into a second surveillance video from the outside of that store. They claim it shows an officer on the left side of the screen warning Brown not to go inside. Police arrested Brown and charged him with resisting an officer with violence and trespassing.
Well, a police officer in Texas recently shot and killed a teenager, and now his family is joining several other grieving families suing the city of Austin for civil rights violations. A grand jury decided not to indict the officer in the death of 17-year-old David Joseph. But since 2005, that city has settled 4 lawsuits, all tied to deadly police shootings. That is a total of $4.6 million taxpayer dollars. That's your money involved. So there's also one more lawsuit in limbo. Ahmed Bradley's family is currently in federal court.
A law firm in West Palm Beach is filing a lawsuit against comedian Bill Cosby and Playboy founder Hugh Hefner. That suit claims Cosby sexually assaulted a woman at the Playboy mansion back in 2008. Well, today her attorney explained she was scared to come forward until now.
He's rich, he's powerful, he's famous. Who's going to believe you? And it wasn't until the women started coming out and joining together to tell their stories that she felt safe enough at that point to come forward and tell her story.
Now, the woman says Hefner should have stopped Cosby from drugging and assaulting her.
Golfer Phil Mickelson will repay the money he made through insider trading. That's all according to his attorney, after officials unveiled a federal indictment against the golfer earlier today. Now, that indictment says that Mickelson made more than $930,000 off one single insider trading tip 4 years ago. The golfer now faces civil, not criminal charges.
This is what the war in Vietnam is all about. The old and the very young. The Marines have burned this old couple's cottage because fire was coming from here.
From the Vietnam War to 60 Minutes, tonight the nation is remembering the legendary career of Morley Safer. The television icon died today at 84 years old, just days after he retired.
Well, if you've ever signed up for a LinkedIn account, please listen to what I'm about to tell you. A data breach from 4 years ago that appears to be a whole lot larger than the company first thought. LinkedIn is now admitting 117 million passwords. Yep, you guessed it, all exposed. Forbes is reporting one particular hacker that tried to sell those passwords on the quote-unquote dark web. If you think your password could be one of those exposed, you can change your password immediately, especially if you use the same password in more than one place on the internet.
Now to a story that tugged on the heartstrings of pet lovers nationwide. Hoss was bit by a rattlesnake trying to protect a little girl. For a while, it wasn't clear if he'd make it at all, but News Channel 8's Chip Wasowski joins us now live from Tampa, where Hoss, he was just released. Isn't that right, Chip?
Well, you got that right, Josh. Certainly a happy ending here today. Haas spent the past week here at the Blue Pearl Vet Hospital, and today he returned home with his owners, Danya and Adam DeLuca.
It was the happy ending everyone had hoped for. It was the happy ending no one could guarantee. Haas's injuries were very serious.
He was very severely affected by the venom. So we definitely, when I first met with the DeLucas, we weren't really sure if he was going to make it.
The family spent countless hours at the hospital hoping and praying. Adam and Danya believe Haas took the snake bites protecting their 7-year-old daughter, Molly. Friends set up a GoFundMe page to help with vet bills, and that fund has exceeded $50,000. The family plans to donate the surplus to nonprofit rescue organizations.
Heidi's Legacy is our rescue of choice. We have a couple other favorites too. We've already donate it to Frankie's friends as well.
Hoss is not out of the woods yet. Tests show he still has venom in his bloodstream and has quite a bit of healing to do. Still, he's in great shape, all things considered.
Oh, what do you see?
The DeLucas tell us the support from the community has been absolutely unbelievable.
Overwhelmed, thankful. But we're also grateful for everybody who's following the story and sending love and support to us. I don't know.
Yeah, just extremely grateful and trying to see when this is all done how we just thank all the people who were there for us
and helped us,
showed love for not only us but Hoss, who they don't even know who he is until they saw the story.
And the DeLucas tell me the one piece of advice they have for other pet owners: get pet insurance. They admit without the support of the community, it would have been very difficult affording all of Hoss's vet bills. Very good advice there.
Yeah,
John.
and of course, watch out for the rattlesnakes too.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, well, great to see he's on the mend, though. Great story. Chip Wasowski live for us tonight. Thanks, Chip.
Thanks to Blue Pearl, they jumped right in there, and they do a lot for the community. I do some fundraisers for them, so I give them some accolades tonight. Good for you.
Good to see that dog back.
Happy endings. I like the happy endings.
Yeah, and you're a dog person too.
Yes.
You take care of the bulldogs.
Yes,
English
take
bulldogs.
care of the English bullies.
Yeah.
Lots of them in need too, of course. Lots of medical issues all over the place.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. And it's expensive, no matter how you dice it.
It does. Insurance definitely helps. And weather-wise, things a little bit muggy the last couple of days. Today, we've seen those showers and storms, mainly in our inland spots, but notice a few showers actually ramping back up this evening in our inland spots. You can see a couple of small showers in eastern Polk County near Davenport, just south of Haines City, and then in eastern Highlands County, tracking a little bit of rain as well. So as we head throughout the next couple of hours, notice most of the rain stays in our inland spots, but after midnight, it's possible we could see a few showers drift back closer towards the coast. Nothing major, just want to throw that out there. It's a possibility. Heading into tomorrow, about a 40% chance of rain. Notice the rain chances dropping, though, as we head into next week. And the good news is it's not just the rain chances dropping, guys. It's the humidity as well, which has been not great the past week or so. So we can enjoy that, and we'll have more coming up in a few minutes.
Good deal. Thank you much.
Thanks.
Coming up next on News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38.
Today on Better Call Bacon, a man calls me for help getting his food truck that was supposed to be delivered last year. I found the truck and the man responsible for the delay.
You're watching Tampa Bay's most convenient primetime newscast. This is News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38. If you've been cheated, when you need help, she's on your side. Better call Bacon.
You better call her. A Valrico man paid $10,000 to fulfill his dream of operating a food truck business, but eventually realized for that dream to come true, he'd better call Bankin.
Investigative reporter Shannon Bankin tracked down the man who was supposed to deliver the food truck to his customer last year.
Out of it, I want to have like an international food truck.
Raul Alvarez runs a locksmith business, but he has a big dream.
So I said to myself, hey, wait a minute, I would like to do something like that myself. So I want to purchase a food truck and, have a little taste of people's country here and become popular.
So he forked over 10 grand to A-plus trailers. The trailer was supposed to be delivered in October.
Then he says November, then he started saying December, then he came with the excuses that his man got sick. And then the other excuse was in Texas that, something happened, that there's a slowdown.
At his wit's end, he called me.
And I've kept seeing Bankin, and that's you. And I says, oh my God, this is the only thing I have left, so let me try it.
So we paid A-plus in Land O'Lakes a visit. Hi, are you Earl?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shannon Bankin with Channel 8. How are you? He took me on a tour.
Have, slicers or whatever. I just got this the other day.
Of what he's done to this yellow trailer. He said this was supposed to be done in October.
Yeah, well.
Now it's May.
Production happens, stuff gets backed up.
Okay, but 8 months of excuses? Earl tells me he wants Raul to succeed. After all, his balance to be paid once the food truck is completed is $27,000.
I know it's been frustrating for him. It's been frustrating for me because I had to wait to get this trailer.
This mobile kitchen will have a lot of bells and whistles, but will all of that make up for the wait? Your sign says, A+. What grade would you give this job?
You mean when it's done?
right now.
Well,
this
it's
guy's
not
been waiting
finished.
for a long time. That's my point. He's been waiting for a long time.
Okay.
Earl wouldn't put a letter grade on this job, but he does have a promise.
You know, but when it's done, it will be an A+ job.
I left with a promise from Earl to have this food truck trailer finished by the end of this month, and I will follow up to make sure he does. Shannon Bankin, 8 on your side.
Well, if you have a problem, Shannon Bankin wants to hear about it. Here's the number to call, 1-855-BANKIN, 1-855-234-6536. Write it down, a good number to know.
Absolutely. The humidity, too, not a good thing.
No.
It's been, you know, my parents are in town. I have to say hi to them because they just got in from Minnesota. Last week, it was 32 degrees.
Oh, my God.
And it's May, so now we have the humidity here, so it's like, what a change.
Welcome.
Yeah.
It's like when you open up the airport doors and they just feel the sauna. That's probably what it
Pushes down on you a little bit.
Yes. The good news is, though, I don't know how long they're staying, but by next week, the humidity is going to drop. And it's
Just when they head back home.
Okay, all right. Well, they might miss it,
All
but
right.
it's going to be fantastic as we head into next week. The humidity will stay high for us tomorrow, though. We'll start off the day in the mid-70s, similar to what we saw today. And then as we head into the end of the day, you can see temperatures topping out near 90. Another warm one. You factor in the humidity, it'll definitely be steamy again. If you have plans to head out to the Lightning game tomorrow, we're hoping for a Bolts win. We need it, that's for sure. At 8 p.m., it'll be 78 degrees in downtown Tampa. And there is a slight chance we could see a passing shower as well tomorrow evening, especially actually into the late evening hours. We could see some rain move through, so keep that in mind if we be out in downtown Tampa tomorrow night. Currently looking quiet across most of the Tampa Bay area, but as you head closer towards the east coast of Florida, still tracking some showers around it in the far eastern portions of our viewing area. Eastern Polk County, eastern Highlands County, tracking a couple of showers lingering. Temperatures, a lot of 80s still on the map. It's 81 in Brooksville, 83 in Zephyr Hills, 82 in Plant City, coming in at 82 still in Tampa as well. So not only have temperatures been warm, but the dew points have been way up, so the humidity level in the oppressive range right now. Thankfully, though, like I mentioned, we do have some relief in sight as we head into next week. But through the overnight hours, generally going to see the showers diminishing, although we can't rule out a couple of showers drifting back closer towards the coast through the overnight. Tomorrow morning, patchy fog, going to be a muggy start to the day in the mid-70s. You'll feel it right when you wake up. During the afternoon hours, we'll likely see a few showers east of I-75 developing, so our inland spots. But notice all the showers and storms off to our north. Those are actually going to move in Friday night. So tomorrow, looking at about a 40% chance of rain. Rain chances dropping, though, behind this weekend's front and the drier air you can see with the lower rain chances next week.
Coming up next on News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38.
Am I really the sort of enemy you want to make?
An actress on House of Cards just waged a big battle. What she won that could set a big precedent in Hollywood.
I'll give more than I get, than I get, than I get, than I get. Oh, you know you ought to.
Michael Bublé may have worked too much. Why he has to cancel 2 upcoming shows. We'll have that and more coming up on News Channel 8 at 8, right here on Great 38.
Another airplane, another sunny place. I'm lucky, I know, but I want to go home.
Michael Bublé, he'll be home for longer than he hoped. The singer was having surgery on his vocal cords. He had to cancel his performance at the tribute concert for legendary performer Marvin Gaye. Plus, he will not be able to attend an awards ceremony in Canada. Bublé posted an apology to his fans on Twitter. He will not be talking or singing for quite a while, but he does expect to fully recover. So that's the good news. Well, actress Robin Wright is the latest star to shed light on Hollywood's gender pay gap. The Netflix original House of Cards star says that she threatened to go public unless she got paid the same as her co-star, Kevin Spacey. He made $500,000 per episode in 2014, while Wright, well, she made about $420,000. Her demands were eventually met, and now she is executive producer of House of Cards.
See what no one else is willing to see. We do things others can't do.
Ghostbusters.
Sony Pictures dropped a second trailer for the new Ghostbusters movie exclusively on social media. This all follows a controversy in March surrounding the film's first teaser, which went on to become the most disliked movie trailer in the history of YouTube. Ouch. That trailer features previously unseen footage, including shots of classic Ghost Slimmer, as well as a smaller, Stay Puft Marshall Man. Ghostbusters opens in theaters July 15th.
Well, more than 500,000 Jeep Wranglers are under recall due to airbag problems. Fiat Chrysler says the driver's side airbag may not open while driving off-road. That recall impacts 2007 to 2010 model years. No crashes have been reported in connection with that issue at this point. And Google knows sooner or later one of its self-driving cars will hit a pedestrian. And it also knows that person will hurt more if he or she is thrown off the hood of the car. So the obvious solution here? They say make it sticky. Google has received a patent for a kind of glue that would coat the front end of its self-driving cars. This is real stuff here. If the car hits a human, the person will stick to the hood instead of flying off and hitting the ground or another car. And get this, the glue isn't sticky until the impact breaks its outer shell.
Coming up next on News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38.
Frontier customers still having major issues more than 7 weeks after that company was purchased. Coming up, we find out what's happening to Bright House customers since that company's now going to be run by Charter.
We'll have that and more coming up. You're watching Tampa Bay's most convenient primetime newscast. You're watching Tampa Bay's most convenient primetime newscast. This is News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38. Here are Josh Benson and Jen Holloway.
We begin with some breaking news into our newsroom now. Eagle 8 HD is over the scene of a crash in Sarasota County. What you're looking at here, a car went right off of I-75 in Venice and into that small pond. You can actually see the vehicle at the bottom left of your screen, a white four-door, two-door car right there. We're not quite sure what that is. Eagle 8 HD is over this scene, but went right off of the highway into that pond. We don't know if it went in farther and somehow backed itself out or if that's where it came to rest. But we're learning some more information about what happened here, who the occupants were, and what their conditions are. So we'll check back in with this scene as soon as we get some more information. Meanwhile, a woman's screams may have saved her life as she struggled to fight off an electrician in her garage.
Her own garage. Jeff Patterson shows us what happened and how you can spot a criminal before you let them into your home.
No one was at the Ruskin home of 50-year-old Adam Milan when we arrived. The sheriff's office arrested Milan a few hours earlier. Milan is an electrician who was in a 44-year-old woman's home doing work she hired him for. He asked her to go to the garage to flip a switch.
That's when he approached the victim from behind, and she saw at that point that he had a knife.
The victim fought, struggled, and screamed.
It's amazing that her loud screams alerted some witnesses, and they were able to come and stop the attack.
The victim hired Milan through a company. Milan had even been to her home to get an estimate.
The victim thought she was doing all the right things. He had come to the home. She felt comfortable after he gave the estimate.
A person who answered the phone at the electrical company where Milan worked declined to speak with us. But with the quick search of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office website, we found Milan has a long criminal history, with the rest leading back to 1986. A more detailed search revealed he was convicted of manslaughter in 1997 in New York and served time in prison.
Just a little bit of searching on our website maybe could have alerted her that she didn't want someone like that inside of her home.
Milan faces a number of charges, including attempted sexual battery. Jeff Patterson, News Channel 8.
Now, an 8 on Your Side investigation. Betrayal of trust.
The organization took money from mentally impaired adults. They lied about it, and 8 on Your Side busted them. And now another former big shot at the Hillsborough Association for Retarded Citizens is going down. Former CFO Frank Panullo faces charges for diverting money from the accounts of clients and then lying to the Social Security about it. Senior investigative reporter Steve Andrews brought this crime to light earlier, and he tells us now that Panullo just signed a plea agreement with federal prosecutors.
Frank Panullo was the money man at Hark, Chief Financial Officer. In this plea agreement, the feds say Panullo and others, such as Sandra Shepard and former Comptroller Marsha Weiss, were conspirators in a plan that illegally took Social Security money from clients who had no capacity to understand what was going on.
Do you know where that money went?
No comment.
Did that money make it into anybody's pockets?
No comment.
That money make it into your pocket?
No, it did not.
Absolutely not.
Panulo is the most recent former HARC executive to admit to the feds he diverted money from clients like Vicky Caldwell and Robert Franklin. The feds claim that our investigation in 2013 revealed Panulo orchestrated a plan moving the money of 40 HARC clients. In 2013, he told me he didn't remember how that money was used.
Do you know if it was spent on operations?
It was probably borrowed for operations. It should show in the foundation books.
Our investigation revealed, and the plea agreement confirms, the client's money was used to fund daily operations at HARC, including $1,800 a month car allowances for both Panulo and HARC CEO Richard Lilliston. To make it all look legit, Panulo had clients sign contracts. Ralph Franklin was absolutely floored when he watched an 8 on Your Side report that showed the agreement his brother Robert signed.
They knew that he didn't have the mental capability to enter into this kind of legal agreement.
HARC gobbled up $7,100 from Robert's account, money he will never recover. It grabbed another $49,000 from Vicky Caldwell. Panulo contends none of this money moved without the knowledge and consent of Richard Lilliston.
CEO had to have. He had to know about it.
Steve Andrews, News Channel 8.
Panulo will now plead guilty to diverting money from clients' accounts and then submitting false reports to Social Security so that the money was used for clients' personal needs when it actually was not. He also agreed to cooperate with an ongoing federal investigation. If you have something that you think needs investigating, call our 8 on Your Side tip line at 1-800-338-0808.
Well, the second major cable takeover to hit the Bay Area in less than 2 months. Bright House is officially Charter Communications. News Channel 8's Candace McCowan looks into whether this transition will be smoother than the Verizon to Frontier debacle.
Who knows how long they would have let it go on.
Frank Rizzo is a new Bright House customer, and it's not hard to believe he dropped Frontier like a hotcake in the past few weeks.
It was all okay until they got bought out by Frontier. Then they stopped sending me bills, and then you'd think they'd cut you off once you don't pay them after a while. They'll just let you keep accumulating debt.
Frank is one of many that Bright House has contributed to a tremendous increase in customers who left Frontier after it took Verizon's service. The state has logged hundreds of complaints from Frontier customers who've lost service, couldn't get a service technician out, and the list goes on. Now customers who switch now have to face another company takeover. This time, Charter will take over Time Warner Cable and Bright House service. And those customers are worried.
I'm concerned that they may not be able to carry out the plan in regards to what my previous company had.
But right now, there's not many changes that customers will see. A Charter representative telling me they're slowly and deliberately integrating their service to avoid major disruptions. They tell me they've also increased their workforce by 40%, with plans of hiring thousands more and hopes of a smooth transition. New customers, Frank's message to Charter, get it right.
What can we really do about it?
In Tampa, Candace McCowan, News Channel 8.
Well, a decades-old park is about to get a major facelift. Today, the Tampa City Council voted to spend $35 million to refurbish the 23-acre Julian B. Lane Riverfront Park. It's near downtown. The city's BP oil spill money, it's going to provide $15 million of that budget, and the rest will come from a fund paid for by taxpayers. But at least one city council member is against this plan.
I also can't agree with using the BP money to build a park.
The plan includes new athletic fields, tennis and basketball courts, an area for concerts, and a family picnic area. They're expecting for it to open sometime in 2017.
A lot of people planning a picnic, trying to get out to the beach. You want to get as close to the water as possible to feel that breeze because it is humid out there. Right?
Yes, this time of year, that's where you want to be. Out with a little bit of a sea breeze. It's always a little bit cooler near the coast usually. So the humidity has definitely been up there. Check out these dew points, mid-70s. That is summertime levels. We're already dealing with that summertime humidity at this point. Temperatures are still in the 80s for the majority of us. It's 80 in Apollo Beach, 82 in Zephyr Hills, down to 79 in Clearwater. It's 81 right now in St. Pete. So here's a look at the radar. Most of the showers and storms are inland in eastern Highlands County, eastern Polk County. We're expecting the majority of them to stay. As we head into tomorrow, though, we will see the chance of some isolated showers throughout the day, with scattered storms developing by the afternoon and then almost increasing as we head into the late evening hours tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, we'll top out near 90. Going to be a hot, another humid day with with scattered storms expected. So the humidity is going to stay with us for a few more days, but we are tracking a cold front, if you can believe that, that'll come through this weekend. Now, we're not going to cool off, but it'll take the edge off the humidity, which will, hey, we will take this time of year.
Using cold very
loosely.
Uniquely there. Okay, fair enough.
Thanks, Julie.
Coming up next on News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38. The last thing you want to do when you're sick is get out of bed. Now, you don't have to.
The whole idea in healthcare now is to go where the patients are, rather than having the patients drive into the hospital.
How you can get a doctor on your phone. This is News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38. Tampa Bay's most convenient primetime newscast.
Tampa General Hospital just unveiled a cell phone app allowing patients to visit the doctor without ever having to leave the confines of their home. News Channel 8's Ryan Hughes explains that the hospital is hoping it will all cut down on unnecessary ER visits.
Tampa General Hospital introduced the app just this week. Of course, it's really easy to download and even easier to use.
The long wait, busy environment, and fear are gone. Anyone who hates to step foot in a doctor's office doesn't even have to lift a foot to see one.
Do you see this as a wave of the future, perhaps?
I think it's here now. Tampa General Hospital just unveiled a new cell phone app called TGH Virtual Care that allows patients to visit a doctor, get a diagnosis, and receive a prescription all from the palm of their hands.
The whole idea in healthcare now is to go where the patients are, rather than having the patients drive into the hospital.
The app is like Skype and FaceTime. It's run by a company called Amwell. Patients simply download the app and dial up a doctor. Within minutes, they're talking face to face.
I spoke to Dr. Mia Finkelstein, who is based in Maryland but licensed to diagnose patients in Florida. They call with sinus infections, cough, and allergy flares.
We're not here to replace a primary care physician at all. We want to augment the care that patients get.
What TGH hopes is replaced are unnecessary visits to the ER, which can be a pretty busy place.
The idea is to keep people healthy so that they can avoid coming to the emergency room for flus and colds or whatever else they have.
The app was created 4 years ago and is already used by other medical facilities and healthcare providers all over the country. Dr. Finkelstein is convinced it's catching on.
I think it's here to stay, and it's just going to keep growing and getting bigger and better.
A copay is required to use the app. These kind of apps are now available in 48 of the 50 states. Reporting in Tampa, I'm Ryan Hughes, News Channel 8.
Keep in mind, hospital officials still suggest anyone with serious symptoms head right to their ER.
And it may only be May, but we're already talking about it. The humidity, summertime levels are with us and will stay with us generally through Saturday. Then we'll track a cold front that will move in Saturday into early Sunday. Behind this front, we won't see really cooler air, but what we will see is drier air, so much smaller rain chances next week, and it will also feel significantly less muggy. So there is some relief in sight in the short term. Showers ending around 9 p.m. for us, though we may have a couple of lingering showers, I think, now sticking around through the overnight. Tomorrow morning, mostly dry, still muggy in the mid-70s. We'll top out near 90 tomorrow. We'll see scattered storms developing into the afternoon hours. Right now, most of the rain is along the east coast of Florida, but we are tracking some showers that have regenerated in our eastern areas. This is the far eastern portions of Polk County and Highlands County, though. So for the majority of us, we're looking at dry conditions at the moment. As we head into the overnight, showers diminish along the east coast, although we can't completely rule out maybe a quick shower reaching back closer towards our coast. But tomorrow morning, it should be mostly dry. Some patchy fog to start the day. We'll be in the mid-70s by the afternoon hours. Notice showers starting up east of I-75, so inland spots like we saw today. The difference will be we have all these showers and storms off to our north and west out ahead of this area of low pressure. Well, Friday night, we could see some of these move through our area, so keep that in mind. Later on in the day, Friday, the rain could move in. And then by Saturday, as the front actually approaches, we'll see about a 30% chance of rain through the day, with dropping rain chances as we head into Sunday and dropping dew points as well. It's going to feel nice. We're in the mid-70s now. We'll drop back into the low 60s for dew points on Monday, which actually feels fairly comfortable. And with the drier air, we're not going to see much in the way of rainfall, so we're keeping just a slim 10% chance of rain in the forecast for all of next week. Temperatures are still going to be warm, but with the humidity less, it's going to feel a whole night A whole lot nicer than this week did, that's
you
for
were the
sure.
bearer of good news tonight.
Yes.
We will take every bit of it.
Coming up next on News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38.
She's determined to be 100% of whatever percent she's been left with.
Our very own Gail Sirens lost her mother to Alzheimer's. Now she's on a quest to find out how others can slow or even stop this debilitating disease. You're watching Tampa Bay's most convenient primetime newscast. This is News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38. Memories stolen, her mother's life lost. Gail Sirens finds new hope for Alzheimer's patients. Tonight, a quest for the cure.
Right now, more than 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, and chances are that someone in your family has been touched by it.
And that's the case for retired News Channel 8 anchor Gail Sirens. 2 years ago, she lost her mother, Betty. And tonight, she shows us what's being done right here in the Bay Area to put an end to this disease.
Yes. How you doing on the medicine? Seems to be doing all right.
Dr. Susan Steen is a neurologist, and Nancy, just 66, is one of her Alzheimer's patients.
In my time.
3 years ago, Nancy developed early onset of the disease. With Kitty, her friend, caregiver, and drug study partner by her side, she is tackling the memory-robbing disease head-on.
She's determined to be 100% of whatever percent she's been left with.
Nancy says dementia doesn't run in her family, it gallops. Her mother, her mother's sister, and her grandmother all had it. A school counselor, she noticed things just weren't like they used to be.
And I was, getting a little behind or confused or forgot to get to a certain classroom for a classroom meeting at a certain time. And, just little things, not little, but because that was part of my job.
Her calm demeanor made it even more difficult to diagnose.
She was very, very professional, and her demeanor is still that way. And that was why I think a lot of people, when she would go to her doctors and say this or this, I think they were initially maybe even fooled maybe a little bit at the first.
Tests at the Mayo Clinic confirmed her fears.
That she's 2 years, 6 months post-diagnosis and still functions at this incredibly high level.
That's not surprising to Dr. Steen. She believes the drug study Nancy is part of is slowing down the speed of the symptoms because of the early detection. So what are the early warning signs? Dr. Steen says those of us over the age of 50 start losing memory. We may not be able to readily recall names of people we know, or restaurants, or even a movie we saw. But that's normal aging, not Alzheimer's.
Do people get lost when they're driving? Do they repeat themselves? That's one of the major signs that we see in Alzheimer's disease, because it's a problem with short-term memory. People don't remember that they've told you the story.
Early onset comes on maybe a little more ferociously. Here at the USF Health Bird Center, its head, Dr. Dave Morgan, and his staff are on the cutting edge of stopping this disease in its tracks, and hopefully one day curing it. He says we now know the buildup of amyloid in the brain, which causes Alzheimer's, can start building up to 20 years before the onset of symptoms.
Understanding this has really given us an opportunity to see who's at risk by using things like an amyloid PET scan, and then mitigating that risk by treating with a drug that lowers the amyloid and hopefully prevents the disease from ever occurring.
But as Dr. Morgan explains, finding people willing to come forward is a challenge.
This is the real goal, is to reach the point where you'll be willing to find out you're at risk because there is a treatment that can lower that risk. And this is where we hope to be by 2020. Each instrument does different things.
Morgan proudly shows off not only his scientist in the lab at work,
we can measure their before and after,
but the atmosphere the Institute has created for patients and their loved ones when they come there for diagnosis and treatment.
So it really does take what could be a really long, hard process.
With multiple people that you'd have to see, we can do it all here.
One of the obstacles to a cure that can't be tackled is the loss of neurons and their connection with each other. Once that happens, the brain begins to atrophy, causing severe memory loss, and there's no turning back.
It takes each one in, scans.
But Morgan is optimistic what's coming down the pipeline is promising.
There are presently 15 drugs in phase 3 clinical testing for Alzheimer's disease. The likelihood that one or more of these will be successful, we think, is very real.
So great to see so much research being done in this area.
And it's such a terrible situation, frustrating for so many families too.
So
anything
many families
that will help is a good step in the right direction. Well, we have much more news to tell you about coming up in just 2 hours.
Here's what we're working on for News Channel 8 at 11.
Hey, Josh and Jen. Tonight at 11, it's a tradition for graduating seniors to pull a prank. But one Bay Area class took it too far. The prank that caused thousands of dollars in damage.
Plus, a professor accused of faking his PhD. Now he's claiming he's the one who was tricked. Those are just some of the stories we're working on over on News Channel 8 at 11.
Welcome back. A Bay Area charity is working to build a shelter and help those in need in Pinellas County. Today, volunteers from Aries Angel House Incorporated gave out food and care packages. The organization is raising money to build a shelter that will benefit women and children, pregnant teens, and homeless veterans.
What a great call.
There's a lot of people out there that don't know the resources. There's a lot of agencies that don't have resources to help people, and I was once that person, so that's why my mission is so passionate.
The group will hold a 5K walk this Saturday at Safety Harbor Pier. That starts at 9 a.m. You can find a link to register at WFLA.com.
Helping a lot of people.
Yep.
For sure.
Always great to see that. And we also like to hear that the humidity is dropping as well.
Quietly going away.
Yes, but we have a few more days of it still with us. So tomorrow morning, expected to be muggy again. We're in the mid-70s. We'll top out near 90 tomorrow afternoon, bringing in about a 40% chance of rain, then dropping back. You can see next week, only a 10% chance of rain each day. So looking better.
90, though. We're just jumping in with 2 feet, aren't we?
I know.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again here tomorrow night on News Channel 8 at 8 on Great 38.
Thanks for being with us. The Mentalist is coming in next. Have a good